Washington. The spurious storyline alarmed Americans. It spread like wildfire, distorting facts into outlandish fictions, despite being attributed only to obscure sources. And it inflamed already divisive politics before the United States government concluded, perhaps too late, that it was a Russian disinformation campaign. "We would take any misinformation like that very seriously," Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the White House press secretary, told reporters at a briefing on Monday. Ms. Sanders was responding to a question about how the Trump administration would view a disinformation campaign by a foreign government, specifically, fabricated and sensational news distributed by Moscow in the 2016 election. But presidents have for decades dealt with the phenomena of Russian-peddled fake news, if under a different name. It is rooted in a Cold War plot that fanned a conspiracy theory about the origins of AIDS, earning a rebuke from the Reagan administration, and now serves as a lesson about Russian disinformation and the subversion of weighty issues worldwide. Today, the fingerprints of Russian disinformation campaigns have been left on both sides of the Atlantic. Mark R. Jacobson, a professor at Georgetown University and former Pentagon advisor, told a congressional hearing in November. Whether it is Brexit or the American election, Russian propaganda still infects U.S. social media networks. Drive. Jacobson said, and we see the same sort of divisive propaganda that we saw during the Cold War. Called Operation Infection by the East German Foreign Intelligence Service, the 1980s disinformation campaign seeded a conspiracy theory that the virus that causes AIDS was the product of biological weapons experiments conducted by the United States. The disease disproportionately impacts gay men, and the Reagan administration's slow response had escalated into suspicions in the gay community that the United States government was responsible for its origins. The KGB picked up on that, and added a new twist with a specific location, Fort Detrick, MD, where military scientists conducted biological weapons experiments in the 1950s and 1960s, said Douglas Selvage, the project director at the Office of the Federal Commissioner for Stasi Records in Berlin. The KGB campaign began with an anonymous letter in Patriot, a small newspaper published in New Delhi that was later revealed to have received Soviet funding. It ran in July 1983, under the headline "AIDS May Invade India, Mystery Disease Caused by U.S. Experiments," and pinned the origin of the disease to Fort Detrick. The choice of Patriot was deliberate, said Thomas Bouchard, a military and intelligence historian who traced how the campaign unfolded. It had no explicit links to the Soviets and was an English-language newspaper easily accessible to a global audience. The Soviets intuitively understood how the human psyche works. Drive. Bouchard said he said the playbook was simple but effective: identify internal strife, point to inconsistencies and ambiguities in the news, fill them with meaning and repeat, repeat, repeat. A September 1985 memo to Bulgarian intelligence from the East German secret police served as a conduit.